Monday provided the full Adalberto Mondesi experience. He was terrific at the plate with a home run, terrific in the field with a web gem, and he got hurt. On today's SportsBeat KC with beat writer Lynn Worthy and columnist Vahe Gregorian, we discuss Monedsi and the Royals, who are 10-6 since their 11-game losing streak. We cover several other topics as well, including how the Royals might handle the rotation if Danny Duffy remains unavailable, and how the bullpen sets up. It's Tuesday, June 1st. I'm Blair Kerkhoff, and I hope everyone had a good Memorial Day weekend. Let's get started talking Royals.
Hey, good morning from Kansas City. Welcome to SportsBeat Live, where we talk Royals with the folks from the Kansas City Star who know them best, and with you. Please join in the conversation with your questions and comments. A big shout out to our sponsor, the University of Kansas Health System. You'll hear more from them later in the show. Let's say good morning to Lynn Worthy and Vahe Gregorian. Hello, guys.
Hello, Blair. Hello, Vahe.
Hiya, Lynn.
Sam Ellinger usually joins us. Sam had better things to do today, but that's Sam. No, that's it. No, Sam is taking a couple days off, so good for him. And we'll be back with Sam next week. But thrilled to have Lynn and Vahe here. Okay, I'll tell you what, guys. Last week, a week ago today, we come on, Tuesday at 10 a.m. Central Time every week. And in an impeccable sense of timing, the Adalberto Mondesi returning to the Royals news broke just about the time that this show posted as a podcast. So, Lynn, I think you were in the air as it was happening, or certainly making your way to Tampa, and we didn't get a chance to talk about the impact of Mondesi, but we get to do it now, and we have a week's worth of numbers of games to consider, and let's talk about it a little bit. Maybe up until the eighth inning of last night, he has been, basically we're getting the last couple of weeks, 3 weeks of the season of 2020 Mondesi versus the first couple of months of Mondesi in the strike-shortened season of 2020. And what I mean by that is something like this. Here's what he did in his final plate appearance on Monday night against the Pittsburgh Pirates.
Just got to find some way to hit. Oh, my gosh. There's nothing Gonzalez can do about that one. That is gone over the bullpen. Mondesi hits a two-run shot in the fifth.
So, actually, I don't know if that was his final plate appearance, but it was the biggest blow of the game in the Royals 7-3 victory over Pittsburgh last night. They took it from a 3-2 lead to a 5-2 lead in the fifth inning, and quite a blast. And he waited until the ESPN cameras were at Kauffman Stadium to have the type of game that he did. All right, Lynn, we've got a week's worth of Adalberto Mondesi to consider here. What have we seen from this guy?
We've seen him, his power. We've seen speed. We've seen him play pretty well at shortstop. He's a really good shortstop. I think there was maybe a play or two where you could tell that he hadn't, necessarily played every day for a couple of months, on the road at least. But other than that, it's been, like you said, the guy who was, one of the best players, definitely on the team, maybe in baseball the last, month of last season after the first 29 games were just dreadful. That's what you've seen from him this year. I think he played 7 games, including, one game he didn't finish. And he had 4 multi-hit games. He had home runs in 2 out of his last 3 games. He was hitting, I think it was 360 or something in that small sample size. And so, he had, I think it was 5 extra base hits. His first 2 at-bats, he doubled from each side of the plate, hitting them off the wall out in Tropicana. So there wasn't a whole lot that you didn't see from him.
Yeah, so he's hitting 360 slugging 720, and his OPS is 1080. That'll play. Those are okay numbers. Vahe, I'll never forget you and I sitting at Citi Field in New York, watching him make his major league debut in the 2015 World Series, and I forgot who the Mets pitcher was, but Mondesi struck out. But there was a purpose to bringing him up in that setting for the Royals. At the bright lights, and this is what we think of you. We think you're a future star, and it's been a how do we describe the road to that he's on? But the stardom hasn't arrived. But gosh, there are absolute stretches of, oh my goodness, how good is this player? And I think we've seen it this past week.
We have, Blair, and first let me say that there are advantages to our last week tonight format here that we can pay homage to John Oliver, but it is nice to have a week to look at this. Actually, I love how you got into that point about him being part of that World Series team, because we've talked a little bit off the air about sort of the donut, kind of the gap in between generations of these Royals players, some of whom are back with the team, some of whom have stayed with the team, but very few guys that came up since the World Series years, guys like Whit Merrifield, people like that haven't fully tasted it. And Monty just having a little taste of it is an interesting snippet of his arc. You were asking before about if there's a word to describe it, and I don't know if haphazard's quite the right word, but there is something about the full Monty experience that we can get into that we had last night, right? The unbelievable explosiveness, but you're left often holding your breath, both about what he might do and, he might get hurt again. And that's a little of where we are, but there is something mesmerizing about having him out there. The explosiveness, all the extra base hits, as Lynn pointed out, those just seem to happen at any given time. And you think he looks like something above everything else that's out there when he's on.
And I would be remiss if I didn't point out there was one other thing we've seen from him that I don't think I'd seen, at least. That was the bat flip last night. The bat flip was a new addition. It wasn't a Fernando Tatis big flailing one. It was a little just one-handed, nonchalant, just here you go, as he trotted, behind a 400 and I think it was 17-foot home run.
Yeah.
Is that the way you did it back in the day, Lynn?
Yeah, well, I like to keep it somewhat low key,
Jose Batista's got my favorite bat flip. He just stands there and chucks the bat away. This is classic. But you're right; it was a nice bat flip, and we had not seen that from Mondesi. That was quite the blast last night. You were right on the measurement, 417 feet, and I believe I don't know if this was on the Royals broadcast, but on the ESPN broadcast, said it was the best exit velocity of a Mondesi home run in his major league career, 109.8, I think. So he got all of it, and he crushed it.
And I can tell you, just in the ballpark, it was one of those ones where as soon as it got up in the air off the bat, everybody in the stadium, reacted at once. It was just sort of like, that one's gone, and everybody just jumping up. I mean, it was, it didn't take long to get off of the bat. It was like that, and it was boom, and it was just like, okay, that's not coming back. And then you look down and you realize Mondesi's, took a little glance at it and then just gave a little twirl and, went about his business. It was interesting. I asked Hunter Dozier about it last night in post game. And Dozier is more of a straightforward old school. I mean, I think, Vahe, you wrote the story about how he's sort of got a little bit of that Alex Gordon embodiment in him. But Dozier had a grin on his face when he was saying, yeah, I don't think I've seen that before, but I like it.
Hey, it wasn't a show up the pitcher sort of bat flip. It was just a celebration bat flip. I thought it was really cool and great to see, and would like to see more of it. But as we both, all of us, have alluded to, the Mondesi experience is not complete unless we get some injury news. And he makes a terrific play in the 8th inning. The slow grounder, I forgot who hit it, but charges, scoops, strong arms to first, and first out of the 8th inning. And we don't know anything at the time because Monedsi finished the inning defensively, was scheduled to come to bat in the bottom of the 8th. Nicky Lopez pinch hit, and we're all wondering, okay, what's going on? And Lynn, what is the latest on Adalberto Mondesi's injury?
Well, he has a left hamstring injury. They were still trying to diagnose the extent of it last night after the game. Expect to find out more here today. But yeah, obviously, like you said, he finished the inning. I think Kevin Newman was the batter. And went back and looked at the tape. He didn't show any signs of it, but he did go a long way to get it from deep in the hole to on the grass, and then made the throw on the run. He might have even made the throw off of sort of one leg at the time, but you didn't see any signs of it. But yeah, he was, and it was even more striking was because you mentioned his final plate appearance. Well, I think technically the home run might have been because he was at the plate in the bottom of the 7th. I think it was Benintendi got thrown out. So then he was back up again to start the 8th. And that's when Nicky Lopez came in. So it was like, wait a minute, he was just at the plate. And then, so that's why it narrows it down to you figure it's got to be that play in the field. But Mike Matheny wasn't sure after the game. They say it was a left hamstring, and they were still trying to get a handle on it last night. There was some thought that we might have got a chance to talk to Mondesi last night, but it sounded like he was going to be in the trainer's room for a while, and they sort of just pulled the plug on that, and we're going to find out more today.
Okay, well, let's hear what Mike Matheny had to say. Lynn, you were the one who asked him about it, and then Andy Rogers followed up. But here's what Mike Matheny had to say about the Mondesi injury.
Obviously, you guys added on some runs after, but I was just curious how big you felt like that the home run with Mondi was just at that point in the game, 1-run game. I think there's 2 outs as well, so it looked like maybe you guys they might get out of that spot there, and obviously he came through.
Yeah, that ball was hammered. Great swing. Wasn't trying to do too much, and that's he's really been in a good place with his swing, and much needed at that point. Give us a little bit of breathing room, but hated to see him come out of the game right there. Had a tweak in his hamstring, so we're still kind of getting our eyes on what that exactly is. But unfortunate, but we'll hear what the trainers have to say.
Mike, did you feel that with that last defensive play there, or was it running around the bases? Or
I don't know. I'm guessing it was him coming in there. That was a really good play. There aren't many shortstops in the league that make that play, but and it did take a full burst to make it happen. So I'm guessing that's where it happened, but I'm not sure.
Yeah, I think he's right. There aren't many shortstops that make that play. It was terrific. And I when the ball came off the bat, I fully expected an infield hit and, another Tyler Zuber experience, right? And no, Mondesi got him the out. Reynolds followed with the solo home run, but it could have been a 2-run homer if Mondesi, doesn't make that play. So I expect we'll know more today, Lynn. Don't you think sometime later today we should have a Mondesi update?
Yeah, we should find out. Even whether he's going to be able to play or just what his status is. We should find out something before tonight's game. They do play tonight. Tomorrow's an off day. Depending on severity, I wouldn't be shocked to sort of spitballing right now. If there's any concern that if they didn't play him today just because he's got an off day tomorrow coming already. So, but we'll see. We'll find out probably later this afternoon.
Hamstrings are a little tricky too. You don't want to, you don't want to rush back from a hamstring. You don't want to rush back from any injury. And they certainly didn't rush him with the oblique at the beginning of the season. He had 7 weeks of recovery time, maybe 6 before he did his rehab assignment. And you've got to think that if there's, I kind of like that thought, Lynn. If since they're off on Wednesday, may not see him in the lineup tonight, and give him a couple of days to rest this thing. But listen, he has certainly been injury prone, In fact, I kind of think of him now as the Joel Embiid of baseball when it comes to injuries. It's hard to keep him on the field, but when he's on the field, he can be spectacular. Vahe, I don't know. We've dealt with athletes who have had injury issues throughout their careers. It's just a frustrating sense, isn't it, that he can't seem to stay healthy?
That's exactly what it is. And I've been thinking about this. Well, okay, so what are you supposed to do about it, right? I mean, you get frustrated. The reason you get frustrated is because he could be so great. And so that's the dilemma of the whole situation, right? I mean, at one extreme, you could say, well, it's just he's never gonna be able to stay healthy. They better trade him, right? You could say that. I mean, you could probably get good value for him. I'm just making this scenario up altogether. But the guy is a budding superstar. And I think you just have to, it's like not a great racehorse. I mean, that's probably a dumb analogy, but it's something that, this comes with the territory with somebody. He's of that special kind of nature that I think you just have to do everything you can to work with keeping him as healthy as possible. It sounds, very simplistic, but it might mean things as obvious as, yeah, he should sit tonight, even if they think he just tweaked it, right? Even if he could have gone, even if he would have batted last night in the 7th, if not for Benintendi being thrown out, right? It sounds like he would have. Just give it one more day. Maybe that's the kind of thing, and that's the price you pay to hope you can have him the longest amount of time. It's a dilemma, though. I think it's a dilemma within the organization, just because you want to be able to count on somebody for this grind.
And it's funny. It was not funny, but just it's coincidental, I guess. Coming in at the end of this series is Minnesota, who has a player in Byron Buxton, their center fielder, who is, it's amongst some of the media, it's almost like, people would say Mondesi is their version or our version of Buxton, and Buxton is the version of Mondesi for the respective cities, because Buxton was one of those guys who was a top prospect, elite center fielder. He's got power, speed. At the beginning of this season, he was a guy who people were talking about, could potentially, I think at one point he was leading the league in home runs, and he also was, stealing bases, extra base hits, and making defensive plays in center field. I think in that series in Minnesota, he might have robbed Benintendi of a couple of extra base hits. But he's a guy who's been injured in the minors and in the majors, and when you see him play, it's like, wow. But then it's like, when's the next injury coming up? And he didn't play in that last series. We were just in Minnesota because he was hurt. And I think they're talking about potentially, I'm not sure if he's going to be back for this weekend or not. But, I mean, there are guys, it's not like it's just an Adalberto Mondesi thing. You see those guys who are just, extremely talented, but it's flashes because they can't stay on the field. And it's not just, something that the Royals are dealing with.
I love Buxton when he's good, and he got up to such a great start this year. And in fairness to Mondesi, he did play 59 of the 60 games last season. So let's take 2020 off the table. He was there for the Royals all of last season. It was years previous to the 162 game seasons where the injury bug bit him a few times. But look, Lynn, the injuries to players, Jorge Soler's dealing with a groin injury now, right? He only got the one at bat on Saturday, had to come out of the game. The Royals have a couple of new Royals or unfamiliar Royals have stepped into the lineup and have taken advantage of their opportunity, have they not? Gutierrez, Olivares. We're seeing some pretty good swings from those guys, pretty good baseball from them.
Yeah. I mean, Olivares just got there over the weekend. He played his first game on Sunday, but he actually had 2 hits that day, including the single that started the 5-run inning that basically swung that entire game. Last night he was, I believe he was on for the Monedsi home run. I think he got hit by the pitch, if I remember right. Innings are starting to run together, but I think he got hit by the pitch, and then got. Or no, actually, I think he got on after that. I'm probably confusing the innings. I'm trying to remember who it was who was on base, but I know he got hit by a pitch last night. I think he was on base twice last night. I think he had an infield hit. Gutierrez, came up when Dozier initially got hurt, and they've kept him, even now that Dozier's back. And Soler being hurt sort of makes it a little bit easier because last night Dozier DHs, Gutierrez can still play third, and you get Olivares in right field. So the injuries have sort of paved the way for some guys to come in there. Gutierrez has had some good at-bats. I think the average has dropped a little bit over the last, few days, but he had a key double the other day. So, you're seeing some guys, and they're not brand new guys. Gutierrez first came up in 19. Olivares was up at the end of last year after they made that trade to acquire him. He was part of that Trevor Rosenthal deal, which, as much as at the time, I think people were up in arms like, oh, you gave up on Rosenthal and gave up on the season. And, well, you have Olivares in the team control for a while now, and now people are excited about him. So it's just, one of those things where when you want to criticize the trade, then you have to make sure you give credit on the back end of that too.
Right. That says something about the depth of the Padres organization that they could part with an Olivares and to acquire Rosenthal. They needed some relief pitching last year. Okay, let's take a break, and when we come back, we will talk pitching and the starting rotation, how they're getting along without Danny Duffy.
The Kansas City Royals lineup is backed up by the region's strongest team in healthcare, the University of Kansas Health System. We both suit up with one goal in mind: to win. The University of Kansas Health System, official healthcare provider of the Royals.
Hey, it's Blair. We have a special subscription offer for SportsBeat KC listeners: unlimited digital access to the Kansas City Star's award-winning sports coverage. Sign up now for 1 year of Sports Pass for access to all the sports news, features, and columns presented on the kansascity.com site, and it's only $30. That's a 40% savings off our regular rate. Your subscription will automatically renew after the initial term at $50 unless you tell us to cancel. Your subscription helps support the sports coverage of kansascity.com and the Kansas City Star, and that support has never been more important. Please visit kansascity.com/SportsBeatKC offer to get this special offer. And as always, thanks for listening.
We're back with beat writer Lynn Worthy and columnist Vahe Gregorian on SportsBeat Live. We're talking Royals with you. Please send us your questions and comments. We'll get to as many of them as we can. And usually by now in the show, we have mentioned the Royals' record or their streak. Hey, they're 500, right? They're 26-26. Is it 7 out of 10 now that they've won? Something, I believe it's 7 out of 10 since the 11-game losing streak. Certainly trending upward. Is
10 of 16.
Well, since the streak, they played 16 games since the streak, so it's 10 of 16 since that. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay, that's not bad. Not bad at all. So the Royals either play 600 ball or 0 ball, I guess is what it amounts to. Either way, it gets them to 500 on the season. As I mentioned before the break, they are doing this right now without the best starting pitcher, or at least the best one this season for them, and that's Danny Duffy. The days off here, Lynn, have allowed the Royals to kind of finesse this, haven't they, to get through maybe with a 4-man rotation for a little while. That's probably going to run out sometime early next week. But what's the latest on Duffy, and where do the Royals go if he's not back in time, maybe for the West Coast trip next week?
Yeah, there hasn't really been much of an update. I asked over the weekend, and they said that he hadn't really done anything more as far as progression. I think they were still, at least the indication was, he was still in that just resting it stage as far as letting it calm down. They've gotten by with, they had 3 off days in about a week, and then they have another one on Wednesday. So the only sort of fill-in start they had to do was they used Junis out of the bullpen for multiple innings, and then they used a Santana / Carlos Hernandez, basically. Santana had the first couple innings, and then Carlos Hernandez came in and gave multiple innings in relief. Now, they sent Carlos Hernandez back down already. That was the move to get Oliveira is on the roster. So it makes it interesting by the time you get to, I guess, the early next week, because you'll have an off day, then you'll have 4 games with the Twins, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So then when they hit the West Coast, they'll probably have to make some sort of a move, unless, Duffy is ready. I mean, Duffy's eligible at this point, but it doesn't sound, from what we've been told, at least, like he's necessarily nearing a return. Even though initially it seemed like it wouldn't be that long. It's just, we haven't really, they haven't said anything as far as update. And I know he's around the team, at least in Kansas City. I don't believe he was on the trip. I didn't see him. And unless he was going to come off the injured list, they usually wouldn't have traveled him, at least this year with all the protocols and everything.
How about Stallmont? What's the latest on Josh Stallmont?
Well, he just went on the list on Friday, so he would definitely not be back for a little while. It sounded like they said it was a knee issue, and his velocity had been down in the last outing that he threw. Now, he had thrown a bunch in a short period of time, about a week before that, and then we'd seen him pitch a couple of times, and there was one outing where I think the velocity was pretty good, and then the last one, it seemed to be down, and Mike Matheny had alluded to potentially maybe that was part of what we saw with the velocity was, the something going on with the knee sort of affecting, just the whole, I think he likes to use the term kinetic chain in terms of just how, the guy's whole body and how the whole fluidity works together. So it's going to probably, I think he went on Friday. I think they backdated it one day, so you wouldn't see him for another good week at least, even if he was ready to just come right back.
Yeah, and Greg Holland with back-to-back, ninth inning games for the Royals. I wonder what they would do if they found themselves tonight needing a save opportunity or just a ninth inning pitcher. I doubt it would be Greg Holland. We'll have to see. So, okay, it is spring, late spring, and that means in college. In sports, the NCAA, the College World Series for both the women in softball and the men in baseball are reaching the bracket stage. Right, we know the 8 teams for the women's College World Series in Oklahoma City does not include Missouri. The Tigers' season ended on Sunday when they fell to James Madison in the Super Regional. Terrific season for Larissa Anderson and the Missouri softball team. I think that program has a bright future after going through some rocky stages in the last few years. And the national seeds are out for the NCAA men's baseball tournament. Of the top 8 seeds, 7 of them are from the Big 12 or the SEC, and that includes top-seeded Arkansas. Vahe, you were down in Arkansas working on stories about the Royals minor league team down there, which, by the way, remiss if I failed to mention Bobby Witt Jr. We may have brought him up once or twice on this show in the past with a 3 home run game, and the surprise to me wasn't that he hit 3 home runs in one game. It was the second time that a player on that team had done that this year. I didn't realize Nick Prado had done it just a week or so earlier. So balls are flying.
The Double-A Murderers Row they got out there in Northwest Arkansas. Yeah,
they went back to back, and was it Melendez, Prado, and Witt on the 3 home run and one sequence there? So
I believe they had a franchise record 7 home runs in the game, and wow. So it's they got some guys swinging the bat. Vahe, what did you teach them? You coach them up while you're out there?
Well, I had to sit them down. And, we talked. I'll always remember Bobby Witt Jr. Saying this line about you're either winning or you're learning. That really stuck with me. And I told Dayton Moore that line, and Dayton kind of said, "Huh, I like that." So it's a pretty good way of encapsulating how he seems to have been looking at stuff.
We have often talked about when we're going to see Bobby Witt Jr. We'll save that for another show because it's not going to happen this week. And but maybe the time's coming pretty soon. We'll have the month of June shows on Tuesdays to discuss. What I wanted to get to though was an additional story, Vahe, that you researched and wrote about while you were down there, and that is the young middle infielder for the Arkansas Razorbacks. One Robert Young, he is tearing it up, heck of a college baseball player, and I do believe he has a Royals connection. Tell us about the story.
Well, Blair, we've seen Robert Moore around for some years.
I went Robert Young. I think I said, I was thinking Marcus Welby.
Yeah. It's easily confused.
Young Robert is what I.
Dr. Kildare. And
apologies, Robert and the Moore family.
I think you just wanted to say young Robert.
I did.
But we've seen Robert around a little bit here and there over the years, and you probably more than me just because you've been here longer. But and one day he just kind of became a pretty well-known player on the circuit in his mid-teens, playing for USA Baseball under 14, and I think at age 17 he had to face the question of whether to go to college or start making himself eligible for the draft. And long story short, he's become an all-SEC, all-defensive player also at Arkansas at second base with a certain flair for the moment. We've seen a couple of his bat flips. And that was sort of part of the impetus for speaking with Dayton about it. I sort of conceived it as a Father's Day story, but it with the brackets being announced for the baseball tournament, it seemed like a good time to run it. And as you both know, Dayton's a very thoughtful person, and to hear him talking about his approach to his son, right, to how to coach his son, how to stand back, how to be present, all those things. Blair, as a father, I'm sure you can relate to a lot of the thinking that has to go into doing that right. And it turns out his son is also an exceptional talent who has really absorbed all the things he was around. So it was a really enjoyable thing to work on.
Yeah, I wish I had figured that out 20 years ago. Not at all. Not at all. It was a terrific story and a great read, and I wish nothing but the best for the Moores. And listen, I mean, we've known Dayton Moore ever since he's been here, right? Since 2006. And we know about his love for baseball, his passion for his family, and for him to have the experience that he's having right now following his son, who is a terrific college baseball player. I couldn't be happier for him. Also, J.J. Piccolo's son's in college baseball as well. And that's just a fantastic experience for those Royals executives to not only enjoy the game, as employees of a major league team, but to be able to follow their sons and through the college baseball ranks, the highest levels of college baseball. I just think that's what a joy that must be for those families.
The one thing, Blair, Robert specifically spoke about JJ's sons, but there were other children of Royals executives involved. But the image of Robert and JJ's sons being whatever they were, 9, 10, 11 years old, and being out at the big league camp and Surprise, and just going out among the fans behind George Brett Field to try to catch home runs, as little kids. It's really, I'm kind of hokey, but the innocence of that, tracking that to here is pretty sweet. And I like what Dayton said though too, about that it had to become his love, had to become Robert's love. And it's about his dreams, not Dayton's dreams. And yet how much Dayton loves just going to watch, right? And again, as a father, I'm sure you related to that.
I love the Ned Yost story too. Wasn't that terrific? The image that I got of these kids, Ned telling the kids to go take some notes and scout some players, dutifully, taking notes. That just was really cool. Really cool image. So that story will be linked to the show notes when the SportsBeat Live becomes a SportsBeat KC podcast. And we're going to work on that right now because we've reached the end of our time with you. Thanks so much for joining us. Thanks to producer Beth Welsh, to Vahe Gregorian and Lynn Worthy. Thanks to the University of Kansas Medical System for our sponsorship. And thank you, the most important people of our audience, We come at you at 10 a.m. every Tuesday morning. Continue to follow and watch and follow these guys, Vahe and Lynn, because they're cranking out great stuff. So thanks a lot, you guys, and we'll talk again next week.
That will do it for today. Thanks to our SportsBeat KC production staff of Derek Donovan, Beth Welsh, Monty Davis, Jeff Rosen, Chris Fickett, and Savannah Smith. Tip of the cap to Lynn Worthy and Vahe Gregorian for stopping by and talking Royals. Links to their stories can be found in the show notes and on kansascity.com. Hey, got another deal for you. You can subscribe to Sports Pass for 99 cents a month. That's right, 99 pennies a month. Sports Pass is the online version of the Star Sports section. You get all the stories that appear in the print editions of the Star, plus more stories that appear only on the website, and they always appear first on kansascity.com. After 3 months, it auto-renews at $5.99 a month unless you cancel. And it's a great time to subscribe. You read about what's going on with the Chiefs during OTAs, the Royals while they're playing so well right now, the colleges, our soccer teams. How do you get it? You go to kansascity.com/sportspass2020. That is kansascity.com/sportspass2020. Do you want more than just sports? Check out the entire Kansas City Star product. Sports news, features, commentary, and analysis, the whole thing. You get all the stories written by my talented colleagues, plus additional national news, sports, business coverage with the e-edition. The details for all of these deals can be found at account.kansascity.com/subscribe. And if you're having trouble hunting down any of these offers, send me an email, bkerkhoff@kcstar.com, and I will get you to the right place. So whether it's the Sports Pass or the full subscription, you're getting and supporting the best sports and news coverage in Kansas City and helping us produce programs like SportsBeat KC. Thanks for listening, and we'll be back on Wednesday with another episode.